Well, then I'm just calmly walking towards the target. In classes that I teach, in conversations that I have with students and kind of more the open online forum, I advocate for taking face and head shots more often. Like, it's a good place to start a gunfight. It's a good targeting structure to end a gunfight. Shots in the face and head are the highest probability of immediately physically incapacitating someone. So you take someone's ability to act. For a bad guy that's doing bad things, there are no shots that are better in my mind than that. And I hear from quite a few people that while it sounds good on paper, it is not possible to do in realistic scenarios. I've got a problem with that. What I think is difficult is making those shots in the artificially difficult scenarios that we see in most competitive shooting. So let me explain that. Most people who are saying that headshots are too hard to make are coming from either IDPA or USPSA target use. We're talking about targets that have a 6x6 inch head. So, right, this is 6x6 inches, guys. My head is twice that size, not even considering my neck. So it's an artificially small entirety of the head area. It's also an extremely small scoring box. So it's not, you don't have the full 6x6 to score on in either of these sports. You either have a tiny circle inside of that square or an even tinier rectangle inside of that square. And both are, I get what they're doing. They're representing, like, if a bullet were to pass through that, that is no questions asked. That is 100% a game-stopping hit. But even in both of those games, if you make a hit there, it doesn't count any more points than the artificially large center mass scoring zone. So you have an artificially small head box and you have an artificially large alpha zone or down zero zone in the chest. Those zones are, guys, they're the zone where you can put a dot or a front sight on a target and you're least likely to have an outright miss if you screw everything up. That's all those represent. We can talk anatomy all we want, but I'll just point you to some videos of watching a bunch of gunfights where cops empty 3, 4, 5 magazines on a dude, all in this great, highly rewarded center mass zone, and dude still has plenty of fight left in him. We could talk about the heart shot that always incapacitates people, and then I'll show you a video of state troopers shooting a dude through the heart, the first shot made in a gunfight, and proceeding to have another 30 seconds of gunfight with that dude fighting back, shooting back, dancing around a car. Then he just hops in his ride and decides to take off down the highway. Like, that dude was dead with that first shot, and he only gave it up a minute later. So like all of this idea that this is a high probability of physical incapacitation, it's horseshit, guys. The only thing that you're gonna hit here that is gonna be a immediate physical incapacitation is just the dangly string coming off of your brain, right? You nick the spinal column and you cause damage to the spinal cord. That's the only thing that's actually physically incapacitating people in any of the chest hits. So at least in the time that we're talking about stopping a bad guy from killing the people around him. So in the training world and in the competition world, massively oversized hit zones and massive reward for shoddy shot placement in the center mass, and then heavily penalized and artificially small head boxes and eye boxes and T boxes for head use. That's what makes those guys shy away from those shots. In competition, I'll give it to you. It is very hard to score an alpha hit on a USPSA eye box. That's a very small target. But it's really not that hard to hit the 6x6. And if you hit the 6x6, you still have a very high probability of ending that fight with a single shot, far higher than any hit that you would put in the center of mass. So people say it's too small of a target. No, it's just your targets are too small. Second thing I hear is along the lines of small target is that people's heads are highly mobile and they move around, and bad guys don't hold still. And at least when you shoot center of mass, you've got more of a safe backstop. Now, generally, I can agree with that. That's real. You have a larger margin of error, as in a larger margin of error in not sending a bullet off into the public with all of its energy. But I'll tell you guys, plenty of bullets pass all the way through a bad guy and still have energy to kill a good guy behind him. So it is better to try and use the bad guy as a backstop, but it's even better to resolve that gunfight in as few trigger presses and as little time as possible. So a draw to a single headshot is a hell of a lot safer than a draw to a single bill drill in the chest. I make every student that goes through my imperceptible handgun class do drills where they are on the move, where the target is on the move, where there are no shoots like abundantly through the entire course of fire. And the only target zone that they have to hit is a 4x6 or a 4x8 inch three-dimensional target, a head. And in those classes, 80% or more of shooters will take and clean that drill with movement. So a bobbly head target moving around while they're on the move with no shoots. They will take a single shot and resolve that gunfight or that stage successfully with a single shot, quickly. The other 20%, usually they're failing that because they are approaching it from a gamer USPSA mindset where they draw the gun and they hose that small target with shitty hits or non-hits. And within a few repetitions of that drill and similar drills, we change the reward structure, we change the goal, and the shooter changes their tactics and they make the hits. And by the end of this class, everyone is making their hits. So that's with dudes who are running like tricked out, dotted gamer guns. That's with dudes who are running gutter sights on snub-nosed revolvers in 22. Shoot it when it moves. Holster. You're ready. Shoot it when it moves.